Consistent self-improvement, everybody. You are now listening to American gypC podcast. I am your host, Classic, and I am here with my co-host,
gypC.
And today we have a special guest of mine, and I'd like to introduce her. Her name is Keishanna, and Keishanna, go ahead and tell them about yourself a little bit, and then we're gonna get into some reminiscing.
I'm Keishanna Michele. I am an aspiring actress out here in LA, and we're from Mississippi.
So we were just having a short conversation before we started recording, and we just decided to go ahead and go in and reminisce.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Mississippi, hopefully Jackson, Mississippi, and a lot of people will get a chance to hear this podcast. So we're gonna go ahead and touch back, and we're gonna let y'all do the math. Pecan Park Elementary is where we first met, and that was elementary. So
Great.
I went to APAC Performing Arts School, 5th grade. So I didn't do my 5th grade year at Pecan Park, and I ended up going to Power APAC.
Okay.
And then from Power APAC, you had to go to either Chastain, Peoples, or Powell, and then they added Northwest. So I went to Peoples. You say you went to Peoples how many years?
I went to Peoples all 3 years.
All 3 years. Okay, so we went to Peoples all 3 years together. And Jim Hill, I went 3 years and actually graduated up in Oxford High. A lot of people forgot that. They didn't realize I snuck off our senior year.
I did too, actually.
Well, we were in the same class, yeah. So So yeah, even high school. Did you go to Jackson State too?
No, I didn't.
I figured you didn't. I was like, I don't remember at Jackson State though.
Yeah. I became a rebel after high school.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll tell you more about that. But yeah, I remember you from Pecan Park, because I went to Pecan Park. 3rd grade year was my last year. And then when I got into the rec where I got my scar, my mom needed a little more help. So she moved me to New Orleans with my cousin. And so I went to New Orleans I stayed in New Orleans for the rest of elementary, and then I moved back to Peoples, or I went back to Jackson to go to middle school.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what Jackson was like back then? Just give a little brief.
Jackson back, you know what? When I think about it, it's like, so I recently went home back in November, and we were riding through like Capitol, and I just don't remember it being that bad. It was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like, nowadays I know you can't have community, you can't have neighbors, but back then all the neighbors felt like they were raising you. It felt like it was a family. The whole street knew who, your child was. You knew, it was better to me, in my opinion. I know a lot of people didn't have that same experience, but when I grew up in Jackson, it doesn't feel the same when I go back.
Right.
It's a little more grimier. And I often tell people, when I first got out here to LA, I moved to Compton, and everybody was like, be careful in Compton. I'm like, you should be careful in Jackson.
Yeah.
Compton has come up, but I don't remember it being the way it is. I used to ride my bike and used to come in the house like at 8:00, and it would not feel like a threat. Like I don't know. It's just a lot. A lot has changed. My mom has moved out of Jackson, and she's in a whole nother county, and it's like, it's not the same.
So growing up, I know I grew up in West Jackson. I know you went to school in West Jackson. Did you live in West Jackson as well?
We bounced around. Okay. So when we first moved to Jackson from Canton, when I was like in the 1st grade, we stayed around the corner from Provine, Claiborne. And is that West Jackson? That's near Ellis.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So we lived in West Jackson. We did.
Yeah.
And then we ended up moving to South Jackson. And that's when I started going to Peoples.
Yeah.
So we moved to South Jackson, and then eventually moved to Byram.
So what I guess, even to help me recall some things, right there at Ellis and what is it?
McDowell. No, is that McDowell?
Raymond.
Raymond.
Ellison Raymond, that mark. What was that? Walmart used to be there. Sack and Save.
I can say Po Folks.
Po Folks.
Po Folks had the best chicken.
The theater on the backside.
That big, yep, the theater on the back. And that was like the Walmart wasn't even a super center. It was just a regular
It
old
was just a
Walmart.
regular Walmart, and the Sam's Club was behind that.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
lot of money that got pulled out. Just to think about that right now, that's what's not there.
I was gonna ask, like, I only know Jackson, Mississippi recently over the
Mhm.
past few years, but I've heard multiple people say what you just said. Like, it used to be a whole lot better, and
Yeah.
most cities get better over time. At least in American cities, especially when it's a capital, right? So, do you have any perspective on like why the decline happened? In your opinion?
I will say, a lot of people, in my opinion, had a little more integrity about what was theirs. And I think people started when any little bit of crime started, people started running out. And it was never really like the best area to live in, but it wasn't
They
as
weren't
bad.
shooting their gun up the street from
Yeah,
Jackson State.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think people started when cities like even when we moved to Byram wasn't really annexed yet. They had just became their city. They had just became their very own city with their own police department. And so people started moving on the outskirts. And when people started moving on the outskirts, the people that were still there just didn't care anymore. That's how I felt. Businesses started pulling out. Like even in that area, there was my favorite Dairy Queen over there. It's not
Yeah.
over there anymore. Potholes, the city doesn't take care of the streets. So you go down that Ellis, you're gonna get a flat tire in the next couple of days because you hitting potholes. So when the city stopped caring, people stopped caring, I feel. And they just got out of there and started moving off. Like I
So
said, my mother moved off.
when did you leave Mississippi?
I left Mississippi in 2012. I actually
Okay.
moved to Atlanta in 2012 when I was in a band, I was singing, I was
Really?
doing yes.
Had no
I
idea.
told you I was a rebel. I rebelled. Instead of going straight to college, I ended up I was singing backup for a late blues singer by the name of Reggie P.
Mm.
And so we would always go on the weekends, just travel, me and another girl and a few band members, and we just was singing and we had our own little competition show. And I just did the singing thing a lot at that time. And then when he didn't want to pay us, we it got real. That's when I went to college. I ended up like, you know what, let me just go to Holmes. I went to Holmes Junior College and I took up accounting, and that was in 2010. That's when I started really just like, okay, you're getting older, let's like let's get a real job and just put that on the back burner. And then 2012 I was like, man, I really want to become an actress, I really want to do this. Like, let me go to Atlanta where it is. And so that's why I moved.
Okay. So what was it like when you got to Atlanta coming from Mississippi?
Atlanta wasn't what I thought it was. Cause you know, when you know how our accent is, and if you ever hear people from, I don't know if you've heard people from Jackson, they got that little Jackson slang, like the way they
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
And so when family would come into town from Atlanta, we were always like, "Ooh, y'all talk so proper," like, "Oh my God." But then when I moved to Atlanta, it was nothing like the people that I knew that lived in Atlanta. So Atlanta, at first, I did not like it because I had this false expectation of it. I thought that it was going to be beautiful. And it's like, nah, it's not as beautiful. It's what you make it.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't like it, but it started to grow on me, and maybe I was a little homesick, but I ended up liking it towards the end.
How
But
long were you there?
I was only here for 4 years.
So how many celebrities did you just randomly see?
I actually used to see a lot because the acting coach that I worked with in Atlanta, he it's not uncommon to be in class with DC Young Fly or with Emmanuel Hudson. It's not uncommon to be in those classes. He was their coach. And so they'll just drop into class. And so they, so proud of them, by the way. But they were just normal people. Like they'll just drop in. I don't think I was ever starstruck by anybody I met out in Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah.
I played with a little photography there, so I saw a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're cool people. I think people make a big deal out of them because they're stars, but they're normal people. They just come into class to learn acting just like all of us at that time were doing. Even out here, like I see a lot of people out here, and it's just they want to be treated normal just like us.
Was there a difference in acting in Atlanta versus in LA? Like, what was cultural difference?
A big difference. Well, I guess I can tell you why I moved here. So when I first got to Atlanta, I like I said, I didn't like it until I actually really got settled. So when I got settled, I ended up getting an agent, and she would send me out on all these great auditions, and I would go in the room. I remember auditioning for a little part in Being Mary Jane, and this same casting director would call me in, and then I'm like, why do you keep calling us in? Like, and you don't always like, can I not act? Like, tell me. She's like, no, you're a great actress. It's just, what I would do is like, I'll go in and then I'll wait to see if my agent tell me if I got the role or if I even got a call back. I would go on IMDb Pro and I would see who booked the role. And it's always someone that looked like me. But I also traced it back to them being here in LA. And I'm like, why even waste our time? So I got comfortable with the casting director because she would always call me in. And she said, the reason why the network feels comfortable with LA actors is because they're trained better. It's not that you guys are not trained, but they're trained better. They know how to be still. They know how to be, instead of trying to act like you're trying to act ghetto. You're not supposed to always do that. You're supposed to like let it show from back here in your eyes. So I was like, okay, say less. And that is why I moved here. I moved here to LA to learn acting because I'm like, okay, if I have what it looks like to be an actress, then I need to make sure the foundation is there. So I started from scratch and I moved out here. I learned the difference between sitcom acting and regular comedy acting. And it's just like, I wanted to study with the best. And I went to some really good schools out here, Groundlings and IO West before they closed, Second City. And like, I feel like I have that under my belt now. So the acting out here, it's a little more competitive, but almost every other person in LA are actors. You go to the bar, there's an actor who's a waiter or whatever. Yeah. You're going to see an actor everywhere. So it's competitor. It's a lot more competitive. However, these people out here can act. Out there, we're just going, it's good acting people. It's good acting coaches out there. Like I said, I worked with someone that was really great, but networks look at who you trained with. And that's what I was told by a casting director. And that's why I moved here. And I have seen a significant difference in my acting since I've been here. So my idea is, okay, so get back to Atlanta and maybe try to pull some roles out there now that I understand what I'm doing.
So how long have you been here?
I've been here for 6 years.
Okay. Yeah, we've been here about 4.
I'm going to miss it. I love it here, but it's time to go.
Really? Why do you feel that?
Well, I'll give you a background story. So I don't know if you know this, but I have a sister. We are 20 years apart. We're 20 years apart.
Okay.
My mom
younger or older?
She's younger than me.
Okay.
I have no children yet, but she is like my baby. So my sister grew up, you know, and by the time she turned 16, everybody just knew that she was going to be this golden child. She made great grades. She went to JA, Jackson Academy. Her grades were on point, but we didn't realize we were putting so much pressure on her. So when that much pressure is being put on a child, they're going to rebel. So when she turned 16, she ended up getting pregnant. So she got pregnant I had a lot of guilt. Like I let my sister down. So this was back in 2019. So she got pregnant. She was going to have the baby March 2020. So I fly out to Mississippi around the time. She has the baby. Like 2 days later, the baby passes away. So I dealt with a lot of guilt of not being there and being in her life throughout her teenage years, because I moved away when she was about 8 years old. So all her puberty stages, all her boys talking about boys and the birds and the bees was all via phone, and I just wasn't there. So I dealt with a lot of guilt about it. And so now that she'll be 19 in May. Now that she's an adult and in college to be a nurse, I feel even more closer to her, and she needs me there. Like I feel like I can't miss out this time of her life, like as an adult, so I need to be closer to my family, to my sister. That's why I want to move. Number one. Two, the price of living in LA is crazy. You would
I
not believe
agree. I
what
agree.
I live, like my apartment, I pay so much. I've paid so much for this apartment. It's in a good area, downtown Long Beach. However, when I was in Atlanta, my townhome was like 800 and something dollars. And this is like,
Yeah, definitely can relate. So you're planning to go back to Atlanta?
I'm going back to Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah. So
April
that's
1st. April 1st.
yeah, the experience and everything is definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
The weather.
Was LA what you expected when you first moved?
No, it wasn't at all. It was better than I expected it, actually.
okay, that's
I
great.
I never wanted to live here, I'll be honest. Never.
Really?
Mm.
Never.
That's the
Anytime,
first time I heard that.
I
yeah, I
can't
never
say
went.
that I never necessarily did, but
Well, he
yeah,
didn't either at first, but
yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't.
Really?
It's not enough rain.
Really? That's
Yeah,
the good part.
I
yeah,
know,
to a certain
right?
degree, but as long as it's warm rain, then that's fine. But still a little bit of rain, it's nothing like we experienced it when we went back home. That rain hit those trees, and you get this sound of that's
Hmm.
different from rain hitting concrete and buildings.
Yeah, and the people out here who don't know how to drive when it rains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, but yeah,
But yeah, so it wasn't like I expected it. People would ask me, like, anytime I would like meet people in Atlanta, they were like, "You should be in LA. Like, you're really good. You could do good out there." I'm like, "I'm not moving out there. Too far away from my family." And no, I was just going off of the stereotype, like, you know. But when I got out here, even though I grew up in the South, I felt like I grew up here, like mentally, spiritually.
mm,
I woke up out here, if that's a thing, the
Yeah.
whole woke thing.
Same
But
here.
I experienced, I got closer to God out here. I don't know if it's just because I'm far away from everybody, but it's just people out here are a lot. I don't know. It's so hard for me to explain it, but it was not like what I expected it. I thought it was gonna be gang banging everywhere you go, and I've had my fair share of seeing, don't
right.
wear red in this neighborhood, don't wear blue in this neighborhood. Like that stuff is real. But I have cousins out here who kind of put me onto that and told me what to do. But other than that, it was like it's a lot more chill. Like even though it's a city, it's more chill and people stay to themselves.
Yeah, but you haven't seen anything though, as far as basically pretty crazy or dealing with the stereotypes of the colors or anything.
Uh, when I first got out here, I drove my car out here, but maybe the third week of me being out here, I had a car wreck. So it totaled my car, so I had to take the metro
Oh,
for a minute. So I did see like a scuffle with a blood and a crip at one point. Um,
that was
maybe
on the
two
metro.
on the metro blue
I hear it
line.
always go down on the metro though. On
Really?
the trains, there's always something. You either get robbed on the metro or
Mm-hmm.
something. So, all right,
Or stalked. I have a story about that.
really,
Well, not really stalked, but followed. But then 2 years ago, I was on the same highway with the high speed chase, which was interesting because I was like, why is all the lights in the sky? And then all of a sudden I look in my review and then it was like, I'm like, so that was actually fun.
Yeah, they do that for
That's
fun out
crazy
here.
because I hear it happens a lot here, but that's one thing I've never seen. And I used to drive a lot out here.
The one I
Yeah.
saw like on the other side where I was on the 105 going, I think northbound, and they were going the opposite way, was the one 2 years, I think it was like 2 years ago. It said it's the longest one in history now. It's the one where this man just kept driving super slow. And he finally stopped at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It had been going from, I want to say 7 p.m. until 2 in the morning.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't believe I actually witnessed that. It was so crazy.
LA, yeah, they have the craziest crimes that take place here on the news and everything. We don't really watch the news that much anymore.
I don't, yeah,
So,
I can't stand
but I
watching the
remember
news.
when I first left Mississippi and I was in Long Beach. We used to watch the news and just see all types of stuff. Guy robs a convenience store with a cup of coffee, and it's like, man, these people are wild.
He robbed it with a cup of coffee or for a cup of coffee?
With a cup of coffee. Basically, went and got the coffee, go to the register to pay for it. I guess he paid for it, and guy opens the register. He splashed hot coffee in the guy's face and grabs the money.
Oh, the coffee was the weapon?
The coffee was the weapon.
Oh my God, that's silly.
Yes. I'm telling you, the crazy. That's why I was like, LA has, and that's when we, first experiencing high speed chases, with the live news camera, and you're looking at it on TV, like weekly though, almost twice, 2 or 3 a week, and you'd be like, man, we're not used to this. No, high speed chases. No, that's not on our, normal news. So it was a little shock then, but that little year and a half I was in Long Beach, I didn't see anything compared to what I'm seeing now.
Really?
I mean, all of LA. We're in downtown LA. We're seeing so much more. I drove Uber the first year and a half I was here, so I got a chance to see everywhere, and that's just off work. So it was a good eye opener for me. Learning some things about the people. Got to see a lot of LA real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, even took a trip to San Diego with Uber.
With an Uber? Like someone?
Yes,
one of my
someone
passengers.
in
Yeah.
LAX. I've had somebody in LAX call
Yeah.
a Uber, and then they, put their bags in the car, and then you press start, and you realize you're going to San Diego. You're like, what? And it's at night, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So.
So
Crazy.
those things, but it's been quite the experience for us. Better, than the average. I've done some street performing stuff. I'm not sure if you've seen
I've
any
seen
of
it.
that.
Yeah.
And that was downtown LA. That was an amazing experience. I've only seen one crazy thing down there, but it wasn't necessarily gang related or anything.
Yeah.
It's been a good experience. Never really had a problem. Never had any type of, real issue about anybody trying to take my money bucket or anything like that. May have some junkies.
Because that was gonna be my question to you about that.
May just have some junkies that may look in there and seem a little obvious, but there's like a little security guard in that area as well, but with the little mart with because it's right there at 7th and Fig, so it's with the Target and everything else, and the other people as well. So they just, it's more of like do I want to try it? He looked kind of fast. I don't know if I could outrun him either. So but you never know. I've just always put off a good vibe. So it was my experience there. I don't street perform anymore out there, but it was love. Yeah, it was definitely a priceless experience as a country boy from Mississippi, being in downtown LA. Like, whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. People don't understand how, like, coming from where we from, like, to be in LA, even when I'm driving, because I have a personal mailbox. I purposely got it out in Hollywood because I want to see the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
Like, to me, people like out here, like, oh girl, that's nothing. We see that all the time. But I'm like, back in the day, I used to watch TV and see this. I'm like, that's like impossible. That was an impossible thing for me.
Right.
And when I go to places that I used to see on TV, it's like, wow, and oh wow, this is Compton. Oh wow, this is South Central. Oh wow, this is Hollywood. This is the walk, the stars and stuff. And people would think that like, girl, you so out of it. I'm like, but you've never been where I'm from.
Right.
This doesn't seem, it's like I'm a country girl and this is big.
Yeah. And because even when we were coming up, they considered Jackson more of the city, but when you get out of Jackson, you come here, it's more like, whoa, it's like 10 million people in LA County and 3 million in all of Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
you mean the amount of people you can see at one time to give you a shock and
Mm-hmm.
yo, look at all these people, look at all these cars, or look at, it's
Diversity
night and
too.
day.
Diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot out here. It's a big bowl of people.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
Yeah.
we love it. We've like I said had quite the roller coaster ride. First apartment that we've probably been in for about 4 years. Yeah.
Nice. When
Usually
did you
we
come out here?
2018. Yeah,
Oh,
January
20.
2018.
I got out here in 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was we had it's been a experience.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful to God for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been a blessing, especially with Okay, to ask you about that, the whole pandemic thing. What was that like experiencing that here?
I will be completely honest and not being insensitive to anyone else and say that it was the best thing that happened to me. But I will say that I didn't have problems with the pandemic.
But have
Like I
you
told
seen anything like that for like the city? What was it like where you were? No cars, no people moving around.
you, it
What was
was
your first thoughts on that?
so when it first happened, I was still in Mississippi because I had got stuck after my sister had her baby. A week later is when they shut down.
Wow.
And so I got a call or I got an email from American Airlines saying your flight's been canceled. So I got stuck in Mississippi for 6 weeks. So my friends back here were like, Keishanna, nobody can go anywhere. Like they said that people were getting pulled over if they saw them out. So I wasn't here the first 6 weeks of the pandemic. But when I got back in like late April, I had a roommate situation, and since I was in Mississippi for so long, they didn't trust me to come in the house. So for like a week or two, I was in limbo until I got my own place here. And so it was rare because it's like you have some people who were for the mask and some people who are against the mask. But when I didn't see the first, I guess, month or two of how it was out here. I just know for me, my job set up everything remotely for me to work from home. I got that set up and I didn't go anywhere. I did do Amazon. I do Amazon Flex just for like extra money. And they considered me to be an essential worker. So I was out. And if then we were told that if we get pulled over, because I didn't know it was that bad, to show them that you're an actual worker. We have a decal that we had to put up in our car. So I didn't see that like how a lot of people saw it, but I did get word that they were like, if they saw you out, they were going to mandate you to go back in. But I was in Mississippi, and at that time, Mississippi didn't really take it that serious either.
Mm.
So, but LA did. It was like shut down. You can't come into the city. My flight was canceled. And I was like, well, I don't know if I'm getting back home. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And but it worked out maybe 6 or 7 weeks later, I was able to get out here. And it was a little more laxed. Unfortunately, that was around the time the George Floyd situation. That's when and I moved in this place, and I'm like nowhere from the Pike. I don't know if you're familiar with the Pike out here in Long Beach.
No.
Not too
The Pike, there's the comedy club, the big Ferris wheel that's out here. They looted, like everything was like a mess out here. So
Yeah, they looted
it was,
7th and Fig
Yeah, they do the same thing
yeah,
down here
downtown.
downtown. Yeah.
yeah. So it was like I had just got out here back from Mississippi and just got out here, and it was just a mess. Protest up and down. Like I'm like right in downtown Long Beach where the courthouse is,
Mm.
and the police station is right here. And so they were like protest and march, and I'm like, wow.
Helicopters.
Helicopters,
Yeah.
yes.
Mm.
Like I'm on my balcony looking at the helicopters, and like I literally purchased some beats to cancel out the noise, to
Wow.
go to sleep and just listen to something, because it was like always loud.
That was the first time I was like, you know what? I'm okay with moving away from downtown because we're
Mm.
close to the courthouse as well. And it's like the helicopters, the marches, the protests, and all of that. And it's just, it was getting too noisy.
And it's still a little noisy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, I know, I feel like it still is. I was gonna ask you,
Yeah.
when you were an Uber driver, did you experience people jumping out in front of the cars?
No.
No crazy experience actually with Uber, really.
I was told by an Uber driver that people did that. Like they did that. That's
Well,
why
I
he would.
wasn't driving Uber then, though.
Yeah. We were
Yeah.
driving Uber when we
Yeah.
first moved here a while
When I
ago.
started street performing, I was done with Uber.
You were done with Uber, yeah. It
Yeah.
was the drivers would be like, "This is why we have a camera to like look at the roads." People would like just jump out in front, and it's crazy. Downtown was crazy at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
It
of,
was.
it was a lot of nonsense because, I remember even they had the Lakers won the championship and they tearing up downtown again. It's like, what the world?
Yes, it's like, why
So
can't you celebrate or have like a peaceful?
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
that it was the weirdest time. It was the
Yeah.
weirdest time. So what was your prediction on how things were going to kind of roll back out dealing with the acting industry and moving forward with those things?
So right now, everyone is for vaccination. I'm not gonna say I'm anti-vax, but I feel like it was rushed, and so that's just my own personal opinion. But everybody that, like, to go in a room to audition, if you're not vaccinated, then you may not get chosen.
Mm.
So that's how it was in the beginning. And so my manager, she said that you're not going to get called in, but I started getting called in. My agent started pushing me. He was like, okay, he submitted me for some stuff for Tyler Perry out in Atlanta, and that also swayed my opinion to go out there. But a lot of stuff was being shot in, I want to say, Canada at one point. And they started shooting stuff in San Diego, but then when the Omicron or Omarion hit, it
Yeah.
shut down a lot of other stuff again. But during that time, Hollywood was shut down. There was no work. If you were not vaccinated, you wasn't working. So I took that time to like get better. I took that time to get on this whole little weight loss kick. And I just was like bettering myself mentally, learning meditation. And I just took that time. I was like, I started questioning, like, is acting really for me? But if push comes to shove, if Steven Spielberg was to be like, I want to put you in this role. Oh yeah, where do I get my shot?
Uh,
So I was at that point that I'm not, if it's not promising right now, let me give it a little more time. And then like that's why I feel like the pandemic wasn't that bad for me, because I was able to stay in and actually focus on me, because like I wasn't being present. Like the first 4 years out here, I was not present.
yeah, you
I was
mentioned
like,
your plan, your workout plan, and I meant to ask you about your project, your book.
my book. So I decided, so when I was in Mississippi, those 6 weeks going through everything with my sister, I ended up gaining like 30 pounds within 2 months. And I've never been a skinny girl. So to gain all that weight, I was like really, really almost sick. So I had to go to the doctor, went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, you're like 1% away from being pre-diabetic. Your blood pressure is high. You're too young to be put on any type of medication. Like, you need to get yourself together. So she gave me 3 months, and she was like, come back. I need to see if your blood pressure is still elevated. I'm gonna have to put you on medicine. And I'm like, I can't be put on any type of high blood pressure medicine if I can help it. So went and grind, went to the gym every day when they opened it back up. And I lost, the first 2 months, I lost like 25 pounds. And then, so I had got this idea. I'm like, okay, so how do I hold myself accountable? How do I track what I've done? I started buying all these different like workout planners, and they were like so overcomplicated. They were like, set this, that, whatever. And I said, well, I want to create something that I know is very point blank, straight to the point. You write your exercises down for like what you've done that day. You track what you eat without it being over complicated. Because then, in my opinion, if something's so complex, I'm gonna just put it aside. So that's why I did the book with Amazon. Amazon has a really wonderful KDP like platform where you with the Kindle platform where you can create a book, you design it, and you get a certain percentage of the royalties. And I just said, let me just throw it out there and see what it does, and see if it's something. It's not like the ones that I've seen on the market. It's very straight to the point, very simple. You write your stuff down, you hold yourself accountable, and that's why I did that book. And I utilize it every day. And right now I am down 40 pounds since I started back in September. So October, and I'm going to be 40 this year. So I wanted to make sure that I was walking into 40 at my healthiest. And when I went back to my doctor, she was like, you're my success story. Like, I've never seen anybody just actually really do the work. Like, your blood pressure was high, and I thought you were going to be like in the middle, but you're at normal. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to go out like that, because high blood pressure runs in my family and diabetes runs in my family. Like, if I could help it, that's one of the good things about living in LA too. You're eating a little bit better.
Yeah, you're surrounded by kind of that type of environment as well. Go to the gym type of lifestyle, especially with the sun. It allow you.
Yeah, once you get started, you just, like, for me, once I got started, I just kept going. And I love the way my body is changing. I love how strong I'm getting. I don't get out of breath when I go upstairs anymore. So
yeah,
understood.
I kind of yo-yo during the pen. It's like I went through a weight loss journey, lost like 55 pounds, and then during the pandemic, over like a year and a half span, slowly making it a lifestyle change. But during the pandemics, like everything kind of went downhill because a lot of things changed and they closed the gym, and it was just like it kind of got me off track a little bit. And now we're just us off track. And I think a lot of people did that in the pandemic. As far as health and fitness goes, it went down the hill. And so this is great that you came up with the whole workbook.
Yeah, and it's just, accountability. Like, I wish I would have done it during the pandemic. I wish I would have put it out there. But I was going through so much depression and so much going through with the death of my niece and everything. I wasn't thinking about my health, and that's why it had gotten so bad. But I don't know, this whole pandemic, even now, really caused us all to like really just reflect and look at ourselves.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it has made me look at being more present and being healthy and being accountable for how I want the next 40 years to be for me.
Yeah. When did you get into meditation? I know I was maybe about college when
I got out here.
When I started to learn about. So you were.
It was out here. I don't know what it is about LA, but it's like LA introduces you to all of that type of thing. I was never into crystals before. I was never. No, I didn't know what. I thought sage was just something you cook with. So I'm like, people burning sage. Don't you put that in your gumbo and stuff? And like, no, this is the type of sage you use, white garden, and da 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 da. I'm like, oh, Palo Santo and all of that. I'm like, what is all this? And so it resonated with me. And like, I don't know, I just became a more calmer person. I started reading better books. I have so many books that I actually have to give away before I move. But a few, like one of my favorite books is The Four Agreements.
I've
And
heard
I,
about
I
that.
think I have too. I think I've seen it on Audible.
Yeah, it comes back a lot.
it here, but yeah, The Four Agreements is my
Is it Audible
favorite
or
book to read, and
YouTube?
I tell everybody to read that book if they want to like have like a understanding of how you should maneuver through life. Thought I had it here, but it must be packed away. But and listening to I want to say his name is Joe Dispenza.
Yeah,
Yes, we love
Yes,
Joe Dispenza. We have all
yes.
his audiobooks.
it's very accurate on things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's I got into that out here, and I want to say it's also because I'm not surrounded by noise of the family. Not to say that my family is bad or anything, but like when you're around, when you're to yourself, you have nothing to do but think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And another book that kind of helped me, it's not really meditation, but it helped me understand what I should be doing when I am by myself, is Outwitting the Devil.
Mm.
It's by Napoleon. Is it Napoleon Hill?
Napoleon Hill. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm familiar
it's
with that.
Outwitting the Devil. He has a concept. The audio book is what you should listen to. It's like this man is having a conversation with the devil, and he talks about the non-drifters versus the drifters. When you're alone, you know how they say the mind, idle mind is the devil's playground. Well, you become a drifter when you don't do anything with your life. So I didn't want to be a drifter, so I wanted to like consume, and I wanted to learn. So meditation kind of made me sit still and feel what part of my body that I'm having tension, what part of my body I need to focus on. Okay, so if it's in my gut, then what am I afraid of? Like if it's like my lower part of my body, like do I not feel secure? Like and learning the chakras and everything. I All that didn't happen until I got out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in LA, like personal development is at the forefront. Like it's something that's promoted out here or conducive to it. So,
Also, Atlanta is getting into it too. I know
yeah.
I went to Atlanta back in August. We had a family vacation out there, and I noticed that they have crystal shops out there. People are wearing the little crystal necklaces and stuff. And I'm like, wow, it wasn't really like this when I was out there. Even my friends, she was one of the friends I met up out there. She was like, the crystal thing, I'm trying to learn it. Like, that's something new to them.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's
It's
something that we grew on to a little bit
I
more over
see.
the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
And
We're gonna have to send you some crystals as well.
Oh yes, please do. I have a few on my fireplace. Well, I had one on my fireplace, but I had one on by my counter, but everything's a mess since I'm packing up. So
what's your favorite crystal?
Citrine,
Citrine. Okay.
and I also like amethyst as well. But I
Yeah.
only was drawn to amethyst because of the color.
Mm,
And also I noticed like if I need a little more courage, I'll choose tiger eye.
okay.
Okay. So
If
you
I
said
need
you're
like
packed up. You're looking at moving pretty quick.
my
Or
last day of my job is March 31st, and I'm hitting the road April 1st.
okay. Okay. Wow, that's
That
pretty.
drive is gonna be so much fun. I love that drive.
Yeah, we just made the drive in November.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Texas is a whole animal in
yeah.
itself.
But
Yeah, I
you're
went
gonna
in November.
really enjoy it. Make the proper
Yeah,
stops and things like that. So yeah, you'll definitely
when
enjoy
I
the
drove
move.
out here, I was in the middle. I was in a tornado,
Wow.
Wow.
and I was so scared. I was in Texas. I don't know what part of Texas, but I was like, because I think that's tornado season. That area, that time when I got out here in May of 2016, it was tornadoes, and I look out my window, there's a tornado over there, and then trucks pulled over, and I was so scared. I was like, maybe this was not what I was supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
And like I literally thought I was going to die that day. And then I saw, when it passed over, I saw a gas station, and the guy was like, you look so shaken. I was like literally shaking. And He was like, well, I'll watch your car if you could sleep out there. Like I slept in my car in Texas at a gas station, and he was like, you don't need to get on the road right now. Let the storm pass and just go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I slept in my car. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Do you have anything like fun planned in between, like places you want to go to? That's a long trip. It's almost cross country.
It
You
is
know, I
cross
actually
country.
wanted to drive up to the Grand Canyon. I
Yeah,
did want to do
that's
that.
on the way.
I did want to drive up there, but I don't know. I'm still thinking about it.
That
And
was one of the places we thought of. The last time we stopped in Sedona, Arizona. I'm recommending Grand Canyon for the next one.
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
don't you pass over like the Hoover Dam, like when you go in that way? Isn't that in that area up there?
I know it's off of the freeway, I think probably by 30 minutes to an hour,
Mm.
whether it's Sedona or Grand Canyon. So it's not like right on the way, but you just veer off for extra 30 to an hour to,
Okay,
visit a
yeah,
place.
those are the places that I'm looking at. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, since I'm over here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Vegas for the first time like 2 years ago. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this little time on this side of the country because there's no telling when I'll be back.
Yeah, well, we're here in downtown LA. If you ever want to
Mhm.
come in and do, in studio interview in the future,
Yes,
that'll
I
be
had so
awesome.
much going on today. I didn't realize that I was gonna be, because like I said, I'm trying to give away a lot of stuff and selling some stuff. So I had places to like actually be. I have a lot of books that I need to take somewhere, and it's just like I had a lot going on.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Understood. Screenshot some stuff, send it to us.
Okay.
Let us know. It's LA.
No, really. Like books? Do y'all need books? I
Well,
have so many books.
just you can let us know.
Yeah, I have buku books that I've read that I
I,
do
I
not need
can't say
anymore.
that I just pick up a book and read it often, but we don't have a lot of books
What's one
necessarily
you like
randomly.
reread a lot?
The
You
Four
have one?
Agreement.
Okay, that's the
Well,
one.
okay. I need to
Okay.
That's the
listen to that one there.
I actually I had just said it the other day that I need to, because I took something personally, and that's one of the agreements, don't take things personally. I'm like, I need to reread my book again. And my coworker, she was like, yeah, you need to read that book again. Like I've read it like 3 times already. And I saw an interview with Big Sean on the Breakfast Club, and that's how I got into it. Because his growth has
Yeah.
I like the way he is and he thinks. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let me get into that book, and I love that book. I love it. That's my go-to
I have
book.
to check it out.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
And it's
Yeah.
a short read. It's a short read. It's not like you'll probably be done with the book within like 2 or 3 days. I have the Audible. Like it's good to listen to it too. And there's another book that comes with it as well. But yeah, that's a really good book.
Okay.
Um, Another book I'm trying to get through is Sacred Woman. I really want to get through this book, but you see how thick it is.
Yeah.
So, and then the print is so small. So it's like, this is gonna take some time.
Yeah.
But this is the Sacred Woman. So it's a guide of healing your feminine body for women. So it's a more holistic approach to healing yourself.
That's
So yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna
Mhm.
hold you up too long since you have some packing to do, but I am super, 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 super proud of you.
Well, thank you.
Super proud of your growth. I know it's been about like you said, it must have been the departure in high school. It's probably the last time we've seen each other. I know you was on the flag team and I was in the band.
I was clarinet. I played
Oh,
clarinet.
clarinet. That's right. I don't know what I say. Flag team. Clarinet. It was clarinet. You
All
stopped
my
playing?
friends were flag girls though.
Did you? I think that's probably what it was.
Felicia to the all of them, yeah. Hmm.
I hope they get to watch this show.
Yes.
Or this podcast.
Tuda is my best friend. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
of
definitely
course, to
going.
this day. I saw Woosie when I stopped in November. I was at Mike Townsend
Hmm.
and saw
Hmm.
Woosie. Yeah.
That's my brother. Yep.
Yeah. Forever love that guy.
Yes.
And the whole family.
Yes.
Yeah. But man, I'm like I said, I'm super proud of your journey. Just even to talk to you, even the acting stuff, that's something. My mom has got into her acting career in her 60s. And
How is she doing? I
she's been
remember
into
your
some
mom.
projects. Yes. I'm super proud of her too. Proud of you, mama. But
How's your brother?
everybody's doing good. Just saw them my mom had her 70th birthday,
Nice.
and so did my dad. So we went there. We just got back about a week
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
It's
So
funny you mentioned earlier you got stuck in Mississippi during the pandemic, and the last time we flew there, we got stuck. They
for
canceled.
almost a few minutes.
They
We
canceled our
panicked.
flight the day of.
Like
They let us know that it's been canceled. They didn't tell us why, and they said the next flight is on Thursday, and this was
yeah.
Sunday. So I'm
He was
like, I need to
And I
go
think we
back
had like
home. Like,
was it 2 or 3 podcasts booked the next day?
yeah, and it's
Really?
like
Yeah, so but we ended up finding a flight the same day.
we
What
had
airline?
Allegiant.
Allegiant
Oh,
canceled. We found
Yeah.
the flight was Delta though.
Yeah, we had to find a Delta flight same day and
But
fly out.
man, you
But
talking about I can't imagine being well, it's home. I love y'all, but 6 weeks without an announcement is whew.
yeah. Especially you got business and stuff to get back to.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it was, we got back, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm glad you love LA. I'm
I love it.
glad your experience outside of Mississippi has been amazing. I hope that it inspires a lot of other people in Mississippi to,
To get out and do
you
something
know,
with it.
try
Yeah.
it. Just try. Just go ahead. We know now we left and the city, was thriving enough. It's not where we would like for it to be now. And we pray and we are channeling energy
Mm-hmm.
to, help revive the city.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful I left. And that's
Mm-hmm.
understanding from if you just got to be honest with that. Hey, it's sticking
Mm-hmm.
around. If I would, if I look back at it and feel like, I wish I never left. Like, no, I can't,
Mm.
I can't say that right now today. But
Right.
I do wish that Jackson, Mississippi could be like Atlanta, Georgia, or Jackson, Mississippi could be like a Los Angeles and just provide, opportunity and wealth and all of that. Good streets, just fix the infrastructure, potholes. I
Yeah.
know it costs a lot of money, just kind of put them things up, fix it somehow.
Yeah.
But, have to woos out
I
on
know.
potholes. Them
I feel you on
potholes,
that.
boy, I drove my car there, beating up on them, baby. Just
Seriously.
But other than that,
Yes.
yes, the thank you to the city of Jackson for giving birth to people like us.
Yeah.
And man, like I said, consistent self improvement every day in every way. Super proud of you. Keep going. Wish you the most and the best positivity and abundance with what's ahead of
Likewise.
you.
Likewise. I'm proud of you as well. Like I was so shocked when I saw when I saw you post, I think on Instagram that you were out here. I'm like, dang, Kwame's out here too. I thought he was just in Atlanta. So
We stopped
Yeah.
in DC, Maryland, Virginia before coming here. We were there for 3 years before coming here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
really?
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a
Oh, wow.
whole nother man. These
So is this the
experience
final stop, California? It's the final stop for y'all?
For
for the
United States,
states.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
It's
we
funny.
see
We're
it. Yeah,
synced on that one.
yeah. We see it really just growing from different areas. We love traveling.
Yeah.
That's one of the things with the podcast. We can take it on the road, when the
Yeah.
time comes.
Yeah.
So we'll do this. We love traveling. We love LA. Now we'll have a place in California, in Southern California. Maybe not in
It's
LA,
not
LA,
it.
but
Yeah.
somewhere where I don't have to see a neighbor or something like that for a little bit or whatever.
And we're exploring countries that might be a better fit or something like that,
Yeah.
But that comes with traveling,
Yeah.
and
And it's
checking.
cheaper in other countries as well. That's
Really?
a lot of people still don't put
Yeah.
that all the way together. Some places the lifestyle is just cheaper, depending on what you're doing. It's
Okay.
cheaper.
And now that more people are working remote, it's like I need to explore, see if there's other countries that might fit you better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't think I want to leave the country yet.
Have you traveled outside of the country?
I've only been to Canada and Mexico
Really?
and the Bahamas. That's it. Never been anywhere.
I want to go to the
Um,
Bahamas.
I did my ancestry DNA thing and I found
Really?
out I am Nigerian and Cameroon.
Uh-huh.
So I said to go over there
So
to
what
at
you
least
about 40% Nigerian, 30%
um
Cameroon?
all I know is I added up all of the African countries that it said I was, and I tell people at work, I am 91% African princess. So
Wow.
Western Africa, it's like a whole, that's the one thing I don't like about the test. It doesn't really narrow down. It gives you like 40% Nigerian,
Yeah.
20% Cameroon, Mali. All I saw was just West African. And
Yeah.
an old manager of mine who is from South Africa, she used to always say, you need to find out what your roots are, because she was like, my features are of Western African. And she was right. So
Yeah,
I was like,
I took the test as well. She took the
Yeah.
test, and yeah, I'm a little mud puppy. I'm just.
I'm like, I'm
I'm just-
surprised 90%. That's pretty
yeah,
African.
it's like 88, it's like 88%. Cause like
Okay.
you grow up a girl with high cheekbones, the first thing they'll say, oh, you're Indian. Ain't a lick of Indian in my thing.
I don't think those tests are accurate.
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
they're
be
accurate as
honest.
well.
Like,
Yeah.
it told me I'm 100% Ethiopian Eritrean, which,
Oh, wow.
okay, I'm
How that
Eritrean.
work?
I have both my parents are Eritreans, and
Okay.
I grew up in Ethiopia and Eritrea they used to be together. So it's accurate where I'm from, but to say I'm 100%, I think the word Ethiopian or Eritrean, I think somewhere in the bloodline things happen, and I don't think anybody is 100% something. It doesn't matter where you're from. I don't think it's probably even Chinese people. They probably got some mixture of something in
Yeah.
there. So I feel like, and then there's the whole the Native American thing you brought up. It's like they do have. I don't know if they have enough data to show the Native American heritage or bloodline, or I don't think,
Yeah.
because there's people that have took multiple kinds of DNA tests, because there's a lot of different companies that do different kinds of tests, and they come up with different answer depending on the different companies. So I wouldn't take it like 100%
Okay.
accurate. So I wouldn't dismiss the
And
Native
my
American
mom, she took
heritage.
it as well, and she had a 1% Native American that showed up on
Yeah. I
hers.
think 1% indigenous did come
Yeah,
up.
indigenous Native American. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I think I was the same, about 30 some 35% Nigerian, Cameroon, Ivory
mhm.
Coast, Ghana, and mine is Ireland, Scottish,
Me too.
Wales.
I
Yeah.
saw that. I was like,
I'm not
oh wow.
surprised on that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was.
We
I
got
was very
questions
surprised.
we just can't ask them people. Like, I
Yeah.
know, but I
Yeah.
just, they won't let me approach them to ask them, what exactly do y'all know?
Right. Right.
Just
But
want to
yeah,
fill in some.
I'm gonna try another one too. Someone else was like, because I did ancestry DNA. I'm gonna do. There's one that only tells you African roots. I can't remember the
I've
name
heard
of
of
it.
that and I can't recall it, and I think I've tried to search for it just to remember, and
Yeah,
I don't know what it's
I'm
called.
gonna try to find that, and I'll send it over if I see it, if I find it. But yeah, I saw that because Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club talks about how it pinpoint who he was, and I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I
And
love
Erica,
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm extremely proud of you too.
Thank
I
you.
am
Thank you.
I am proud of you. I knew you was gonna do something musically. So when I used to see you do the street performance, I was like, yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And then
Sounds
it
about right.
just came to a, I've retired. It's been about a year now since I've really messed with some music
You don't
stuff.
do
So
music at all anymore?
I haven't been doing too much of anything. I'm still like, all right, pull your cello out today and tickle it.
Hmm.
Just tickle that thing, tickle that cello. And
And then you
yeah,
get hooked on it
it's like
again.
I got some podcasts though I need to record. I'll get to it. And yeah, it's going on a while though. And I haven't, produced anything. I've been listening to some stuff, but I've had the quiet. That's the thing as a musician, you're
Hmm.
listening. You forced to listen. But when you get into meditation and learn about some silence, you gotta figure out like, okay, after not listening to music for so long and getting a lot of silence and not having to
Hmm.
want to interrupt something, it's like, all right, I can get addicted to this
Hmm.
silent thing and music retirement just a little bit and find something else to do with that attention or with that
Yeah, I mean,
energy.
I agree with that because it's like that's why I had said that I started questioning if acting was for me. Singing, all that. I was like, do I really want to do this? And I had just got so used to being present and being, you know, focused. And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. But it's, it made us who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and definitely grateful for that. So,
Yes. But yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of your show. I'm so glad that y'all are doing this. I am addicted to podcasts. I listen to it in my car. I
really,
just,
Nice.
I love, like, the whole idea of having a podcast is amazing to me. Like, I don't know. I wish this just really got bigger. What, like in the past 2 years, people started doing
yeah,
podcast
Yeah.
shows.
yeah.
And I love it. I download the app Spotify and I just listen to all types of stuff on. I love this idea of having a podcast.
So you see yourself having your own podcast?
I wanted to at first. I did, but then I decided that, let's focus on I was going through a whole stage of trying to find my purpose. And so I'm like, let's not get too busy with too many things. Um, I want to move back home because I, of course, want to start a family because I don't have any kids yet. I've never been married. I've been single for so many years and I've been so happy in that space.
Man, that's another discussion in itself. So we're gonna have to get you back on as
Yeah,
far as to
yeah,
talk about
definitely. And I'll try to come in
dating in
person.
LA. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
That's something I missed that I should have asked you about, but yeah, we'll get to that one. But
okay.
no, but you were saying, go
Yes.
ahead.
So I was just
I
on the verge
interrupted.
of trying to find my purpose, and I said I want to do a podcast, but what do I have to talk about? And so I kind of was like, well, let me focus on YouTube. But then I got bored with YouTube. Ended
Mm,
up getting a really great camera for YouTube, and just stopped recording. I was like, if it doesn't like I get bored easily, and so I'm like, I don't. If I'm going to do something, I need to be consistent with it. And I
we
think
can
what makes y'all so successful is because y'all have each other, y'all have a system, and partnership, in my opinion, is important. And I'm like, if I really do something, I want to have someone partner with me. Like, I love that. I like watching couples talk. I watch comedy, or I listen to comedy podcasts. I listen to stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, it's always a team. And I'm like, it's just me, and I don't think I'll be consistent with it.
thank you for that. Thank you
Hmm.
Yeah,
for sharing
appreciate
that.
it.
Yeah. Well, Keishanna, we're gonna let you go. And
Okay.
give them links to the book and how to buy it and your, social media and everything.
So my book is if you just type in Keishanna on Amazon, Keishanna Michele, it will come up. It's like the first book that comes up. It's workout planner. My Instagram is Kiki Michele, and Michelle has one L. And that's about it. I'm on TikTok. I'll be doing all kind of crazy TikToks. Everything across the board is Kiki Michele. KekeMichele.
Okay.
I
And
will have.
we're gonna hit Woosie Weary from two different angles. You tell them to come on the podcast and I'm gonna tell them to come
I
on as
am.
well.
I'm gonna get on there and tell them now because we be competing on the watch. Like, see,
Workout.
they can't touch me. So I've been competing with people and I've been winning. And so like I'm sure I'm gonna reach out to him right after this then and tell him he need to go on there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You're gonna say
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for the listeners, you don't have to try to remember the links. It'll be in the description. And for the podcast, you can find us at AmericanGypsy.com. And we also have merch at luamlee.com. We have consistent self-improvement brand clothing, mugs, and pillows, and a lot of different things.
if you want to check out some of my music, classic Carpenter on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, other platforms as well. Title it's KLACCIKCARPENTA, and some nice vibes, cello instrumentals, some electronic instrumentals, and a couple of vocals, things like that.
And if you want to support the podcast, we have Patreons. We have different tier memberships for exclusive content and some discount on our merch, as well as crystal necklaces that we make ourselves. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Keishanna, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to everyone again for listening. Consistent self-improvement, everyone. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.